Selamat siang. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih pertama kali saya ucapkan kepada Ali. Nama aslinya susah menyebutkan, jadi sangat enak dipanggil Ali. Hari ini kita bersama-sama akan mengikuti kuliah umum dari Mas Ali yang akan menyampaikan materi yang terkait untuk teman-teman mahasiswa adalah terkait dengan mata kuliah perilaku satwa liar untuk S1, kemudian mata kuliah pengelolaan populasi satwa liar di S2. Nah, materi ini sangat relevan untuk teman-teman yang ikut pada siang hari ini. Pertama untuk ya teman-teman S1 untuk yang mengambil perilaku satwa liar, komunikasi ini adalah salah satu alat yang penting di dalam perilaku satwa liar. Nah, ini hari ini kita akan belajar bersama, nanti oleh Ali akan disampaikan konsep-konsep dasarnya dan juga bagaimana aplikasinya. Sementara yang S2 saya kira ini nanti yang perlu dicermati, bagaimana akustik monitoring ini yang dulunya dipakai untuk mendeteksi keberadaan, sekarang sudah mulai one step ahead untuk bisa mendeteksi lokasinya. Nah, ini kesempatan bagus sekali untuk menyaksikan, kalau boleh saya katakan menyaksikan sejarah ya penggunaan bioakustik ini untuk berbagai survei, termasuk ke depan kalau nanti setelah penjelasan Ali kita akan bisa tahu bagaimana kira-kira pengembangan bioakustik di masa yang akan datang untuk estimasi populasi atau untuk tujuan-tujuan yang lain. Nah, tanpa berpanjang lebar, nanti Mas Ali mengenalkan diri juga ya. It will be in English and also in bahasa. Mas Ali, saya paksa berbahasa Indonesia agar semakin bagus bahasanya. Tapi if you have any difficulties to find word in bahasa, then just use English. So ya, tanpa memperpanjang waktu, saya persilahkan Mas Ali untuk bisa menyampaikan kuliah umumnya terkait dengan bioakustik ini. Dipersilakan.
Ya, terima kasih banyak ya. Dan ya maaf kalau kalian tidak mengerti ya. Silakan saya bisa berhenti dan bilang lagi ya, ada waktu cukup. Ya, nama saya Alasdair dari Universitas Exeter di Inggris. Sekarang saya belajar S3, looking at spatial ecology of endangered species in Borneo using passive acoustic monitoring. Khususnya ua-ua, spesies white-bearded gibbon, Hylobates alvibarbis, dari Kalimantan Tengah. Ya. And my research, penelitian saya, funded by the UK Research Institute from the UK government, in collaboration dengan Borneo Nature Foundation dari Palangkaraya, Kalimantan Tengah. Dan with my counterpart Pak Imron di sini ya, dengan UGM. So I have just come back from some fieldwork in Sabangau, and so and so yeah, I thought I would share some photos, but it was a fantastic trip. I always love being di hutan di sini ya, di Indonesia, dan lihat orangutan, ua-ua, kalasi, dan lots of reptiles, burung, insekta, plants, fungi. Yeah, it was really, really good, and I collected some good data, so that's good. Also, yeah. also met some, sedikit nanti ya, met some amazing people. There was lots of expertise in the area, and I wouldn't have been able to do the research without the local expertise. But more importantly, made some very good friends, and I think some of them are listening now. So terima kasih banyak online. So hari ini we will, saya tahu mungkin some of you sudah bekerja dengan bioakustik ya, tapi to introduce everyone to bioacoustics, I will give a brief background and then talk about my personal research for my S2 on automated analysis of bioacoustic data. Then I will look into my current research, which is lihat lokasi akustik. ya. ini salah mungkin ya. Dan demonstrasi dengan data saya dari Sebangau ya. And lihat alat ini that will be available for research dengan UGM. And then ada waktu cukup ya, so setelah bisa Q&A and diskusi ya. Tapi kalau ada pertanyaan, saya bisa berhenti ya, dan and so anytime please silakan ask questions ya. Because otherwise maybe bisa lupa ya. Okay. So bioacoustics is the study of sound in biological systems, yeah, and it can be suara biologis, satwa, or suara anthropologic, yeah, from humans, yeah, and from nature as well, so rain and things like this. And these sounds carry a lot of information. So they can be incredibly useful for ecological and behavioral research, as well as population monitoring. So, for example, bisa identifikasi species, ya, kalau presence or absence di area. You can go further and look at population monitoring with spatial distribution, population density. Bisa identifikasi individu, mungkin ada suara individual ya. So in one population, you can identify individuals and look at things like survivability within a population. You can also look at responses to anthropogenic disturbance. So maybe after development of an area. Mungkin online. And then when you look at this entire soundscape, you can look at indicators of ecosystem health as well. And then another example, you can even look at kind of phylogenetic relationships. And if we look at vocal communication of mungkin orangutan, mungkin ua, we can look at the origins of complex vocal communication in humans as well. Yeah. So to collect bioacoustic data, we can use automated recording devices, sometimes called ARUs, ARU, yeah, or PAM, simply. And the advantage of these is they can collect acoustic data at any time of the day, continuously. So they don't need people to be at the location at all times, yeah. And so they're very good in remote, inaccessible, or habitats where it's hard to see long distances, seperti hutan, yeah. And they can very good for rare species and cryptic species, seperti species malu, yeah, species that will run away. And this is a good methodology, non-invasive, yeah, and it allows for data to be collected if you have multiple devices. You can collect data at banyak lokasi, sama waktu, yeah. Sensors are relatively easy to deploy, require little manpower. You just pasang dan ambil, yeah. And then one big advantage is ketika ada data bisa use lagi untuk species lain, untuk project lain, yeah. Which isn't so easy with other forms of data collection. So before, PAM first saw success in marine environments for cetaceans. This was because devices could be really big, very bulky, and they had a lot of success here. And initially, they didn't do so well in terrestrial habitats because they were bulky, power hungry, not very resistant to weather, which is very important, especially in tropics like Indonesia. Yeah. But with advances in technology, they're now proving much more effective. And this is very recent, maybe 15 tahun, yeah. We've seen very fast development in the effectiveness of devices for weather resistance, battery life, storage capability, like usability, bulkiness, they're smaller, and sekarang mereka lebih murah, ya. Habis mahal mungkin, ya, but cheaper and cheaper as more devices get developed. So they're more accessible for a wider audience. And these devices have been particularly effective for nocturnal species, so survey species di malam. And I've spent some time surveying kelelawar with PAM in the UK. And also they've proven very effective for surveying species di hutan. Yeah, and because of this, yeah, there's a big potential for PAM in Indonesia, across Indonesia, where there are forest landscapes. So my first experience with passive acoustic monitoring was on my S2, where I collaborated with a researcher from Cornell University in America, name of Dr. Wendy Erb. And she had this array in Kegiatan, which is a research and education forest ke utara dari Palangkaraya. Dan ini lokasi punya 3 habitat, dari Karangas ke kiri, seperti like transition zone, dan low pole ke kanan. And these devices were recording for 2 tahun, yeah. So it was a really, really good data set. And because I had done some work with gibbon surveys on my S1, I was interested in seeing how we could use this data to survey ua-ua. But I came into a masalah besar, yeah, because this was so much data and there was far too much to process manually. So this is a common masalah biasa dengan project bioakustik, ya. We have solved the issue of data collection because we have better devices that are able to withstand cuaca, they're able to record. Yeah, this is not so big a problem now. But now we have a new problem, which is there's terlalu banyak data untuk analysis, yeah. So this is a problem because data storage can be expensive, and setting up projects, finding PAM devices, it's all a lot of money. And if you're not seeing results in terms of research from this, this is a problem. So analysis automatis is necessary. Yeah. So I used a program called Kugu, and there's really good GitHub online, which runs you through all the steps of how to use Kugu. So I was looking for the great call, which you know, but it's not a bioacoustics lecture without some sound, so I'll play this. Yeah, oh, it cut off. Anyway, but so I was looking for the great call because it's very distinctive and it indicates a mated pair, jantan dan betina, yeah. And for automated detection with bioacoustic, biasa we use image classifiers, right? Because with sound, usually di atas it's a waveform, and di bawah it's a spectrogram, which is a frequency representation, as you may know, with frequency on the y-axis, time on the x-axis, and then color is like loudness, yeah. And with pictorial representations of sound, like a picture representation, it conveys a lot more information. So it gives AI, like automated detectors, a lot more information to go off. So usually we use image detectors when we're working on sound classification. And yeah, I won't go too much. I won't go too much into the process of how I set this up, but if you are interested in more, it's published in Journal of Acoustical Society of America, and there's all of the steps to make the model as well as the code alongside it. So if you are interested in looking at Kugu for solving any problems, there's the GitHub, and then I've explained some of the reasonings for my steps in that as well. But the model works quite well. You can see the merah dan biru. Merah itu ground truth, ground check, ya. And biru is the prediction from the model. Yeah, so it works very well. And then we were able to put this on a big chunk of acoustic data, just to kind of see what we can find out when we have these tools and are able to process large volumes of data. So we applied it to 23,000 jam of acoustic data. Ya, with 18 bulan dan 3 habitat, dan identifikasi 84.000 grade cool. Which was a bit crazy, sedikit gila mungkin ya. And this information is in preprints as well, if you're interested in reading more. But we were able to lihat waktu suara, waktu suara with all of these calls. And then also we looked at grade call rates. So nomor grade call per hari, yeah. Then this was surprising. So there was a positive association with rainfall. So ini hujan per bulan. Then there was a positive association with cooling activity and rainfall, which was surprising as Owa tidak suka menyanyi dengan hujan ya. Ya, tapi ketika kami lihat di like zoom out view, we see in hujan musim hujan ada lebih banyak suara. Saya tidak tahu mengapa, mungkin buah availability, yeah. And this is something I want to look at in the future. Juga kami lihat daily rainfall as well. So this is like rainfall 1 day before observation, 2 hari dulu, 3 hari, 4, 5 ya. Dan this was the likelihood of cooling. So ada suara atau tidak suara. Dan ini number of call, nomor grade call. And we see, unsurprisingly, 1 day before, the gibbons were less likely to call, kurang likely to call, and kurang nomor grade call. But with 2 day lags, they were more likely to call, and they produced more grade calls. So again, this was really interesting, and we could only really find this out by looking at a massive number of calls to get these effects.
Ali, can you clarify what does the lag period?
Apa?
The lag period.
Oh yeah. So ini hujan 1 hari dulu hari observasi. Yeah. Dan so mungkin itu like
It's after or
before.
before?
Yeah. So this is like 1 day before, 2 days before, 2 days, 4 days. Dengan millimeter hujan. Yeah.
So the rain happened the day before the fall.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ya. Itu artinya 1 hari sebelumnya ada hujan, maka dia oleh 2 hari sebelumnya ada hujan.
Ya. Dan mungkin ini karena lebih mahal untuk thermoregulation. Ya. Jadi mungkin tidak punya energi cukup ya. Dan maybe this effect is like compensatory. Ya. Karena mungkin kalau tidak menyanyi suara 1 hari, mungkin besok ada a great like higher costs of not cooling. Ngerti ini ya? Okay. So these results are only possible dengan analysis automatic. Yeah. So this is why it's quite good. And now, what next in the world of like a summary of automated analysis, automated detection? So there are several options if you want to implement this into your projects. So Kugu itu bagus for custom detector otomatis ya. Tapi and bisa use the Google Colab as well. So it's accessible, but it requires more skills in coding with Python. Yeah. BirdNet is also very popular, and it's more user friendly because it's dengan aplikasi, and it has kind of pre-trained detectors already there. So maybe for some species you don't need to train a new detector. Yeah. But I think there's a problem in at least Borneo, maybe semua Indonesia, tidak ada banyak training data dari sini. Jadi mungkin detektor otomatis BirdNet lebih bagus untuk burung dari Amerika, mungkin Eropa, seperti ini ya. So maybe you would have to develop your own detectors anyway. But this one, Perch 2, is new, and saya belum coba ini ya, tapi this is promising, and I recommend reading this reference here, because they use a transfer learning. So there's a model already trained on many bird calls, many wildlife sounds, this kind of thing, and you can adapt it to new species really easily. So for example, kalau ada burung rare, tidak biasa di lokasi, dan kalian mau lihat di file suara, ya, itu sulit untuk detektor baru, ya, karena tidak ada banyak training data, ya. Tapi mungkin dengan Perch 2 bisa use file suara dari Sino Canto. Itu mungkin kalian tahu, itu like a sound library, ya. Dan dengan satu suara bisa, like, Perch 2 can match in your sound files and suggest options for training data. So with one sound, it pulls out sounds from your files, and you can say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and this will train a new detector. So I think if you are looking to approach these questions, definitely keep up to date with the newest options, because this field moves so quickly, and khususnya sekarang, there are, like, Google is getting involved. There are organizations with like a lot of resources getting involved now. Yeah. So I think this will get better and better and better very, very quickly. Okay, so yeah, so now on to acoustic acoustic lihat lokasi, ya. And I think one of my interests was, okay, you know, we can collect data. Now we can analyze the data automatically and get a first idea, kind of what I was showing, of some of the things we can find out. However, there is still a lag of how much acoustic data is being collected and how much is reaching kind of insightful outcomes, and good outcomes. So there's more that needs to be done, particularly in implementasi, So one of my interests now is spatial ecology with passive acoustic monitoring. And to do this, we can use acoustic triangulation. So sekarang untuk ua-ua ini biasa untuk manual acoustic triangulation. So dengan metodologi ini ada 3 grup pergi ke hutan dan mendengar untuk ua-ua dan they measure berapa jauh dan dari mana. Dan bisa triangulasi lokasi ua-ua. Tapi dengan metodologi ini ada limitasi, karena kalau salah itu mudah untuk overestimate atau underestimate nomor grup. Dan berapa jauh dan dari mana is subjective, Dan dengan 3 grup mungkin ada variasi. So it's hard to be correct every time. Maybe it needs more experience, and to scale this up is sulit untuk area besar dengan banyak orang, itu sulit. Also, it's labor intensive, so harus banyak orang untuk satu survei, Dan because of this, biasa survei ada limitasi area dan temporarily, So for small areas and for small amounts of time, and the result of this is what we know about populasi ua-ua biasa di Taman Nasional, tidak biasa di hutan unprotected, dan tidak di banyak habitats, For example, dengan Hilobates albibarbis, kami tahu banyak dari peat swamp habitats, hutan peat swamp. Tapi tidak banyak dari kerangas, dari dipterocarp, dari banyak hutan lain, Dan ini masalah. Okay, so untuk solusi bisa dengan PAM, metodologi nama time difference of arrival. Dan dengan ini bisa lihat waktu berbeda suara datang di alat lain, dan dengan ini bisa lihat lokasi seperti ini. So ini waktu datang dan ini waktu datang lain, So bisa komparasi 1 dengan 2, Dan di sini suara datang lebih earlier, Dan with maths, you draw a hyperbola di sini dan komparasi 2 dengan 3 dan hyperbola lagi dan 1 dengan 3 hyperbola lagi, Dan di mana mereka bertemu, ini lokasi, Dan for examples, I recommend reading these untuk primata. Ini ya saya pikir di Borneo, Kalimantan, dan mereka bisa lihat lokasi ke 50 meter accuracy. Ya. And this one with chimpanzees bagus juga ya. But it's like this is really good, but there isn't much uptake in this method. And why? Well, for these studies, they used old devices where you had to have an external GPS. Oh ya, saya lupa, maaf. Untuk ini harus punya waktu sinkronisasi, ya, very exact, to like the microsecond, because then you can see the difference in time. The sound arrives at each device. Okay, so untuk ini we use satellite clocks to get exact time. So the reason why we haven't seen much success with acoustic localization so far is before you'd have your recording device and then an external GPS. And if we think particularly in like forests in Indonesia, it's very easy for this to get damaged. It's very difficult to kind of deploy. So yeah, we haven't seen much success until now with these new devices. Seperti ini ya. I can hold it up, but I have pictures on the side as well for those online. I think it's fine. Hello. Yeah. I think it's okay. So for the workflow that I'm about to explain, this is a good source on the Frontier Labs website, which is company dari Australia. Then it explains the process behind acoustic localization. And yeah, these devices are, I think, will be able to use in Fakultas Kegiatan di sini. So this is the bar LT from Frontier Labs, and you can see here it's kind of like this. So I was deploying these in Sabang. And to set them to record, you can use the recording schedule here, or you can use an application called Scheduler software. And with this, you can load a schedule seperti ini. Then this was for mendengar ua ya. So we set it to start on this state. Mulai tinggal ini setiap satu hari, mulai jam 4, setiap 30 menit sampai jam 10. Ya. And untuk lokalisasi, this is in the website that you need satu channel dan 4 for the online. Oh, maaf. Sorry, online. So you need so you need 4 kilohertz sample rate. But this is on the source, the this is on this website here. So yeah, you can also look with this. You can also look. These devices take 1 sampai 6 baterai. Yeah. So di sini, I don't know if you can see. Di sini ada estimasi hari untuk baterai dan storage ya. Tidak bisa lihat di sini. Dan bisa adjust total storage di sini karena ada 4 slot untuk SD. So sekarang ada SD 128, tapi bisa dengan SD ya 500 atau lebih GB. So bisa dengan 6 baterai. Dengan schedule ini itu 100 hari, which is bagus sekali ya. Tapi mungkin biasa karena ini dengan software lokalisasi itu coba koneksi dengan GPS ya. Jadi ini uses lebih baterai ya. So mungkin hari betul itu kurang, mungkin 80 ya. Okay. So that's the scheduling. Oh, actually, so dengan ini bisa save file di sini dan just drag file onto SD card, and ketika kamu turn on, alat bilang, mau schedule ini, and you say, yeah. Okay. So untuk setup, so you can use a microphone. Di mana kamera? Oh ya. Mantap. Okay. Dengan mikrofon ini dan bisa put here and screw this tight di sini. Karena kalau tidak tight mungkin ada masalah ya. Ini dari makak dan mikrofon tidak tight. Mungkin makak bisa pull out mikrofon dan ya rusak. Aduh. So yeah. Also dengan ini for deployment, we used silica gel inside because these devices are banyak cukup untuk semua cuaca ya. Hujan tidak apa-apa, tapi inside hujan apa-apa ya. Yeah, so they're very waterproof, but you want to limit the amount of moisture inside. And we attach them to a tree like this. Then to set them up, you just turn on, and if they have the schedule, they just start. Yeah. Kadang-kadang ada masalah dengan sensor cahaya, itu kurang, dan jadi mungkin kalau tidak lihat screen, just shine torch, and the sensor will detect the light and turn on. Juga cek untuk tik-tik, dan ini sinkronasi jam, dan ini lihat posisi ya. And we had a problem initially we checked this and there were 2 tick. Tapi untuk check properly, it needs to be recording. So mungkin dengan schedule ini itu tunggu untuk jam 4 dan itu punya 2 tick, tapi tidak bisa sinkronasi clock ya. Jadi untuk cek lihat menu dan manual recording. Just like recorded, negar untuk sebentar untuk lihat tik-tik dan bisa berhenti dan just leave. Ini bagus ya. Okay, so kalau semua bagus, file suara lihat seperti ini. Di sini tinggal waktu dan ini untuk waktu sinkronisasi ya. Dan ini lokasi. Kalau tidak bisa waktu sinkronasi mungkin ini tidak di sana ya. Okay. So this is the software actually. Pertama. Okay, so kami pasang PAM di sini untuk test accuracy. Kami punya 3 square lebih besar karena bisa test berapa jauh untuk estimasi akurasi lebih bagus ya. Dan setelah pasang kami kami lihat uwa-uwa bersuara dan record lokasi suara dengan GPS ya untuk ground check accuracy. Okay, kemudian dengan software ini dari Frontier Labs ada software lain yang that does this for acoustic lokasi. Tapi karena I've just come from the forest, this is like first check, yeah, first look at data. So with your map view, you can let's do this again. Okay, so you note the location of your devices, di sini, lock all positions, and then in audio view, here we go. Yeah, it lines up all the sound files. So di sini bisa check sound file. Ini. And it matches across all your devices. So ini alat 7, ini 10, ini 6, yeah. And these are all lined up at the same time. And then bisa lihat untuk suara, mungkin di sini. Ini ya di sini. So ini great cool ya. Apa?
Itu different phase ya.
Apa?
Itu apa? Phase yang berbeda-beda alat.
Ya. Ya, alat berbeda ya. So ini alat lebih jauh ya. Ini alat dekat ke suara, dari suara. Ini alat jauh sekali, mungkin bisa uncheck karena tidak ada gradku di sini ya. Dan bisa lihat sedikit waktu berbeda untuk suara datang ke PAM ya. Dan dengan sini bisa select. So kalau kami mau lihat lokasi suara ini ya, bisa select seperti ini. Dan ini suara sama dari alat lain ya. Dan bisa ada lag. Dan bisa find on map. Dan ini lokasi suara. Ya. Ada pertanyaan? Ini bagus?
Ya, already.
Ya.
I wasn't question. Ada pertanyaan? Ya, Mike.
Good afternoon. I'm Nisa Ahmadina. Saya mahasiswa S2 Fakultas Kehutanan. My question is, that device, we can tell the sound of specific species, right? But how can you tell the difference between, in that communication, like what kind of communication that species is talking about? Like, is that mating communication or hunting communication? How can you tell that? Thank you.
Ya, terima kasih. Ya, I think untuk ini we can I think a lot of this information comes from seeing the animal when they're calling. Dan ada informasi untuk suara like already, and then maybe before you do a project with bioacoustic data, you read the informasi about the suara and use that to interpret or mendengar suara ya. Tapi kadang-kadang tidak ada informasi on this kind of thing. Jadi mungkin dengan bioakustik bisa mendengar sedikit, like maybe satu suara biasa di bulan khususnya ya, dan mungkin ini untuk mating or something like this ya. So I think like previous information from following and from seeing is very important to interpret bioacoustic data. But yeah, when that doesn't exist, we can use the bioacoustic data to understand a little bit more. Yeah, ngerti? Ini bagus? Yeah.
The other question? Yeah.
Okay, hello Ali. Yeah. My name is Giot Simanulang. You can call me Giot. And for the presentation and for your result, it's very interesting because this is that we search for the many years. We can because we want to know the localization of the animals, and this recording can tell us about it. And for my question, I have two questions, and the first time is how far this detection can detect the localization of the animals, and for the second question is for the Bioacoustic Studio, the software for the recording, is it okay if you can use for another recordings like Swift One or Songmeter or the others? Thank you.
Yeah. So in terms of berapa jauh ya, these devices are the same microphone as SM4. I don't know if you have experience with them, but they're basically similar to people's hearing. So I think for uwa mungkin bisa mendengar dari 1 kilo, depending on the forest type. And generally the rekomendasi untuk ini like sedikit kurang jauh dari maksimum. Yeah. So for my grid to survey the area, I ended up using 600. I could have used much bigger. I could have used 800 atau 900 mungkin. Tapi it was a trade-off with the resources to deploy the devices so far. You know, I had 10 devices, and with such a big grid and off transect, it would be quite difficult to get to these places. So we chose a little bit less, but I think like some of this comes through experimentation, and some of this, obviously, there's a trade-off of you want to cover the largest area possible with a certain amount of a limited number of devices, but the larger the area, maybe the lower the accuracy, maybe, and also the more resources you need to deploy the devices. And the second question,
whether you can use it for other devices, there's software.
Oh yeah. I don't know, but there are. If you go on, if you go on here, they recommend. So this is like an algorithm that you can code yourself, yeah. But these are 3 alternatives. I've heard good things from Open Soundscape, but the one issue is with SM4 and Swift 1 is that it can be difficult to do the time synchronization, and sometimes one way of doing it is you can play a sound at the same time that all the devices can hear. But even this is difficult because over a certain amount of time, the clocks drift slightly. So it's to do with, I don't quite understand, but it's to do with the crystal in the clocks. And sometimes they just, over time, go out of sync slightly. So I think it's harder for these devices, but it's not impossible. And people have done it. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this I don't think this is particularly user friendly. This one, but it's super easy. Like I was able to get the sound off from one day, get the sound off my devices, and play around with it and get some locations very quickly, so it's good. I actually had I had a little bit more of the presentation, so maybe I'll just finish off, unless if that's okay.
Ya, nanti ya. Tapi lu tanyanya nanti ya.
Sedikit nanti, yeah. I'm nearly done. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the predicted locations of the from this software. So the coklat itu lokasi betul, dan biru lokasi lokasi estimasi. So it's very good. I was surprised at how good it was. Karena ini 26 meters, 27, dan untuk ini 6 saja. Yeah. So it's very, very accurate. And I mean, some are a little further away. But yeah, it's very good. And this is without optimization, without finding which part of the great cool is best for lokasi. You have lokasi. Yeah. So this is good. So yeah, so just very quickly, finally. The main challenge now is to, so with this data, I can cluster group locations of the suara and estimasi berapa grup di lokasi. I think the biggest challenge is to make this process efficient. So this is just for, one day, line up all the calls, drag and da-da-da-da. But if we're talking about 1 bulan atau lebih lama, this takes more and more time, yeah? So it's working out how to get this process efficient. And maybe for this, I will combine it with automated detection, maybe code a custom version of Studio, and then kind of run it so it's automated. We'll look into that. And then also the interesting thing is how we can apply this to other species as well. So gibbon's a very good case study because suara loud, and semua setiap hari. But how can we apply this to other species? So yeah, maaf, saya selesai sekarang.
Oke Ali, terima kasih. Saya lanjutkan. Nabil tadi ada pertanyaan. Sambil tolong dicek yang di online ya.
Yeah, thank you Ali for the presentation. My name is Nabila. Nice to meet you. I have 2 questions, I think. The first question is, do environmental condition has an effect on the accuracy of locating animal using acoustic triangulation? For the example, maybe in the dense forest, on the open forest, I mean like maybe in your first files is more open than the other device. And then the second question, I think it's basic question. Can we adopt this approach, the triangulation approach, for the other species, or maybe do we have something like the certain characteristic for the vocalization of our species target? Maybe it must be audible sound or something like that. Yeah, this is my question. Thank you.
Yeah. So I previously looked at how we could locate sounds through amplitude, and in a kind of similar way to this, like if it's louder at one device, it's closer to that device, and if it's quiet at one device, it's further away. But if this was the problem I ran into, was that the habitats are not the same. and actually, for example, in Kahadadaka, Karangas, the sound would travel maybe 1 kilo mungkin lebih lama, but lebih jauh ya. But in peat swamp, the sound would maybe travel 800 meters. So there's a difference there, and the distance that the sound travels, it travels through different forest types as well. So this can all affect it. So this is why I kind of took a step away from using amplitude alone and went to time difference of arrival, because it's less affected by this kind of thing, because it uses the speed of sound, which doesn't slow down that much through different forest types. The main thing that affects speed of sound is weather. So if it's humid or there's
there's temperature differences, it can slightly affect the speed of sound. But it's pretty robust, and also actually here there's an option somewhere for you can add temperature here as well, so that will tell you, recalculate the speed of sound based on the conditions of the sun. So to answer your question, sorry. Yes, I don't think it's as affected by habitat type, which is really good, or topography, either, which is also very good. But there is probably some effect, but it's minor. And then the second question, yes, absolutely, we can use different species. I think you're right in saying that some sounds are better for acoustic localization than other. Your research is on elephants, right? So is it like a low drone?
Yeah.
It would be interesting to see how this works, because with gibbons, the good thing about them is that there's big frequency modulation, and this creates a very obvious signal which can be localized quite easily. I think it's possible with elephants. I don't know, but it's worth a try. But I think the characteristics of the sound can absolutely affect how effective this method is. But yeah, it might just take some tweaking. It might just take a different approach or something like this.
Ali, continue the question about environmental factor. Actually, Nabila did her research on elephant, and she found topography has influence on the detection of recorder. If you have in the top of the hill compared to the lower part of the hill, the detection is different. Whether this also apply in this situation or not?
I have the luxury in Sabang of it being very flat.
yeah, that's what I can imagine.
So I think actually if you look at this paper, hello, this one where they located chimpanzees. It's Crunchant et al. And they were doing this acoustic localization in a ravine, recorders around the ravine, and it didn't seem to have a massive effect on localization accuracy. I think obviously the difficulty is whether or not the sound reaches the device. But I don't know. I don't think it's as affected by topography, but I think maybe it's less accurate or something like this. But this is the kind of thing that I think if you set up a new project, you'd have to test this kind of thing.
Okay, good, thanks. Any more question from the audience, including from the Zoom, from the? So please. Siapa di situ? Silakan yang resen. Ada yang resen kah? Oh, somebody read there. If a huge river separated forest patches, would triangulation work differently? It's the question from Ashraf Safwan Ahmadi bin Yusni.
So it's a similar question to topography, habitat type, and this kind of thing. As far as I'm aware, acoustic localization is pretty robust to all of this stuff, because whether sound is traveling over a forest or across a river, the difference in the speed of sound isn't so much to affect the acoustic localization accuracy. It might affect it somewhat, but I don't think it would be like hundreds of meters or
Different,
50 meters, I think it'd be less than this.
Okay, thanks, Ali. There is a question from Mas Ari. Mas Ari, do you want to speak out to say something? Because it seems it's only one sentence for recording equipment placement. What does it mean? Mas Ari, silakan Mas.
Oke, Mas Imron bisa dengar suara saya?
Ya, silakan. Bahasa Indonesia juga boleh.
Okay. Ali, thank you for your presentation. I have questions. For recording equipment placement in the mountains location are the device placed on the billtops, and then after determining the position of a group, what is the next step in the calculation? Is it the same as the manual triangulation or not? Triangulation method.
So this is kind of what I'll find out. At least the second part of the question. With placement of devices, that paper on chimpanzees place their devices on the top, on the higher ground, because I think they're able to record further. I think if you place your devices in the valley floor, then you won't be able to hear as far. And then in terms of the second step, in terms of how you translate that into the number of groups, one thing I want to look at is some clustering algorithms. So maybe k-means clustering. Basically, kind of just like habitat analysis for like spatial GIS. So I think, if I'm mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, but for manual triangulation, you use if devices are separated by more than 500 meters, they're a different group or something like this. But I think if we build up points from localizing sounds and map them and kind of layer them up, after a while you'll be able to see kind of clumps of calls, and thereby estimate the number of groups. So yeah, does that answer your question?
Mas Ari, masih ada yang ditanyakan?
Yeah, I think that's it. Thanks.
Ya, sama-sama.
Thanks, Mas Ari. Any more question from the audience here? Bahasa Indonesia boleh?
Biar Ali juga latihan bahasa Indonesia.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the presentation. My name is Cecil, and maybe my question is similar with the other, but about the software itself, Frontier or maybe Raven Pro. Maybe in the field, we got like disturb, or there are like aspect that maybe will cover our target species, maybe like cicada or tonggeret. Is there are any tools in the software that maybe will remove the disturb voice? And also I will asking about if we got a voice from any other species that maybe we don't know, is there any tools from that software that help us to find that species, or we have to find the species by ourselves? Thank you.
Yeah. So just to check, pertanyaan pertama, it was about cleaning sound. Yeah. I this is definitely possible. I haven't done it myself, but I don't think with Raven. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But you can, with Raven, you can put filters on sound. So if the sound that you don't want is in a different frequency range as the sound that you're looking for, you can just chop off that frequency range and filter that out. The difficulty is when it's overlapping, and I don't know. I think there are tools, and increasingly advanced tools, to separate the sound, but it's a lot more difficult when the sounds are overlapping. It's very hard. But there are tools. There are tools. I don't know any names, but I know they work like. Have you ever seen with music now? You can run AIs on them that separate like the guitar from the bass, from the drums, and stuff like this. I think there are tools that work in a similar way for biological sounds as well. And I think that, I don't know any names, so I'm sorry, but at least if it's in a different frequency range, with Raven Pro you can absolutely, or Raven, you can just take it out, and then the second question, maaf saya lupa.
If we got like any other sound from another target species that we got, can we identify the species?
Yeah. So I think this is. I want to try this out with Perch 2 in the UK. This new model. But I think one thing to do if you're looking at like bird communities or something like this, you want to kind of look at the entire community of species, you can run several detectors at once on the sound. Obviously, this is difficult when you don't know if that bird is in the sound, and also if the bird only has one call and there isn't a detector already there, how do you train this detector? So this is a challenge that people are still trying to work out, I think. But with these new models, you could kind of test for everything. You know, you could be like, what is the max, like, what birds are going to be in this thing? And then you can use, for birds where there isn't already a detector or there isn't much training data, I think these tools will be really good because, like I said, you can take a sound off Xenocanto, like a reference sound, and then use that to train a new detector. So I think it's still a challenge. Yeah, it's still a challenge. Yeah.
Thank you, Ali. We have still one question from the online one, Pak Himawan. You please, Pak Himawan, please. Still muted. We could not hear. Masih mute, Pak. Nggak keluar. Atau mungkin mic-nya dilepas saja, mic-nya. Apa headset-nya dilepas. Ya, ini terdengar.
Ali, my name is Himawan, and this is the first time I attend this class, and it's very new knowledge for me. I work in planting office of Jakarta, and for the last 10 years we have done monitoring for invasive species, and this year we also have to do the monitoring of wild animals, especially for in animal quarantine. And maybe this method, we will need this method in the future, but although maybe we haven't been able to apply this method, but I'm very interested in can be people also kemudian this method with like environmental DNA and updates that of the method can be one to the other for the result, and that's all totally. Thank you.
I didn't quite.
Sedikit.
Yeah.
Pak tadi maksudnya yang apa untuk faktor lingkungan seperti apa ya tadi? Mohon bisa diulang sedikit.
Sinyal, ya.
Ya, jadi apakah untuk metode monitoring ini bisa dikombinasi dengan environmental DNA dan metabiologi?
Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, combination with other method like DNA, metabiology.
Yeah. Yes, I think it can work well with this kind of thing. There's someone in my lab group in University of Exeter is working on models to combine observation data from things like acoustic localization, camera trap, observations and things like this, and kind of combine them all into one population estimate. So yeah, it can absolutely work alongside other methods. I think was that yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but if you combine many different methods, then the cost will be increased as well.
Yeah.
Ya, terima kasih Pak Imawan. I think this is the last one ya. Dora, the Explorer. Oh bukan, Dora Jawa di. Maaf. Oke, silakan.
Terima kasih banyak kali presentation bagus sekali. I was wondering, will you include an analysis on parts phenology in addition to looking at weather, like maybe looking at resource availability, what sort of effect that might have, or are you assuming that rain levels sort of equal with fruit and food availability? Thank you very much.
Yeah, terima kasih Mila. So this is for take a while to load, but this this section. Here we go. Yeah. So for this paper, we kind of talk about how rain and fruit availability are related, but obviously this relationship needs a bit more inspection. But yeah, thankfully there is phenology data from diadakan from a different time scale. So one of the things I do want to look at is the availability of particular fruit species and how this relates to cooling activity. I think I'll look at a longer period of time, also look at rainfall, but then also look at the abundance of different fruit types as well, and just see what we find. So yeah, I hope that answered your question, Mila.
Ya, terima kasih banyak.
Ya, sama-sama.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's come to the end. It's almost lunch, but most of us don't take lunch because most of us doing fasting. But yeah, terima kasih sekali Ali sudah berkenan hadir di Fakultas Kehutanan untuk berbagi ilmu. Hari ini kita belajar banyak sekali. Saya personally senang sekali karena this is one of my big question using bioacoustic, and finally you explain us very clearly. Although of course there are so many other questions, I will ask you later on. Terima kasih sekali juga untuk teman-teman baik mahasiswa maupun yang ada di Zoom yang sudah hadir.